The bond between mother and daughter was twisted, marked by manipulation and emotional abuse. Theresa was unrelenting in her pursuit of control, and it became clear that her actions were less about discipline and more about her desperate need to break her daughter's spirits. While Sheila and Suesan grew older, they both began to recognize the toxic environment their mother had created. They both attempted, at various points, to escape her clutches, but Theresa's grip on them was strong, and she made sure to keep them close. Using emotional blackmail, threats, and sheer force of will, the more they tried to break free, the harder Theresa tightened her grip, until they were prisoners in their own home. The psychological toll that this kind of manipulation and abuse took on Sheila and Suesan was profound. Both daughters, despite their desire to escape, were deeply afraid of their mother. They had no one to turn to, and they had no idea how to navigate the world outside Theresa's sphere of influence. For all intents and purposes, Theresa had become their world. The psychological toll, how trauma took root. The effects of Theresa's abuse on her daughters were not merely physical. They ran much deeper. The years of psychological torment took a toll on Sheila and Suesan's mental health, pushing them further into a state of emotional turmoil. The isolation and constant fear prevented them from building healthy relationships with others. They were cut off from any possibility of a normal life, living in a constant state of anxiety and dread. Theresa's behavior was not merely the result of a single incident or a temporary mental health crisis. Her abuse was systematic, calculated, and deeply ingrained. It was a pattern of behavior that she had learned over the years, and it was a reflection of the trauma she herself had endured in her childhood. But unlike most people who would break the cycle of abuse, Theresa perpetuated it, trapping her children in a generational cycle of cruelty. The psychological scars left on Sheila and Suesan would prove impossible to erase. They became more withdrawn and passive, often absorbing the blame for their mother's rage. Theresa's behavior made it clear that the fault for her actions always lay with her children. They were constantly blamed for every misfortune and every mistake, no matter how trivial. Despite everything, Sheila and Suesan both tried, in their own ways, to survive. But survival was not enough. The mental toll of living under Theresa's control was breaking them. What Theresa never understood was that her daughters, while afraid, were also growing stronger. They were not powerless. The strength to escape, to survive, had always been there, even if it was buried deep within them. It was only a matter of time before the horror that Theresa had so carefully hidden for years began to reveal itself in the most tragic way possible. But for now, at this point in the story, the abuse continued in silence, growing darker and more intense with each passing day. Conclusion: a house built on fear and control. First chapter of this story is a window into the distorted reality Theresa Knorr created for herself and her children. It sets the stage for the chilling and devastating events that were about to unfold.